Transformation is the key to fulfillment. Transformation is the key to fulfillment. Transformation is the key to fulfillment. Why is transformation important? Now, I think I'm becoming known as the story guy. I tell everybody to view your life as a story because it really is a story. And why is it a story? Because it has all the elements of a story. It has a main character, a protagonist, you. It has supporting characters, your family, your friends, your community. You have goals and you have purpose. Even though sometimes you forget, there is conflict and obstacles that you have to overcome. Critical decisions that you have to make and dramatic twists and turns that ultimately bring you to the exciting climax of fill in the blank. This is your story, not mine and not anyone else's, frankly. You control the plot, you control the storyline. Now, there's some things that you can't control. You can't control where you start, but you can absolutely control where it ends. The most important element of what makes your story great isn't all the elements I just listed before. It is transformation. You have to want to become a butterfly so badly that you're willing to give up being a caterpillar. Now, the world is full of caterpillars and people who never grasp the idea of transformation. And this is why they do not make progress in life, in business and relationships, and in becoming more than what they are. The inner changes you experience as you go through life is the most important part that most people do not address. It shows that you are dynamic, that you evolve, and that you are complex. And that is what attracts people to you. That is what makes you interesting. There are really only two elements to a better life: thoughts and actions. If you can learn to transform them both, then anything is possible. Now, we've all been around people who do the same thing day in and day out, year in and year out. Those kinds of people are boring, predictable, and dead. Not actually dead, obviously, but there's no growth, no movement, no progress, just stagnation and misery. But that is not you, because you are choosing to do something different, to go from where you are to where you want to be, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, or any other meaningful way. You have to choose to transform, because after all, transformation is the key to fulfillment. Now, I use the word fulfillment specifically, not just words like success or happiness, because fulfillment means to develop your full potential. It means to bring your dreams and ideals into reality rather than drifting through life, doing and chasing the same things as everybody else. You have to be different, and some people just don't get it. You are more unique and valuable than you think. And I know that we're kind of having a moment right now, but I want you to remember that most people live lives that are unfulfilling. And that is what I want to put to an end for as many people as I possibly can. And this is my real life approach to it, because after years of stagnation, it is a concept that has helped me to completely change the way that I think. It has given me a framework to set better goals and to grow on a bunch of different levels. It has enhanced my own personal story, and I know that this will do the same thing for you. A transformation is not just a superficial adjustment. It is a deep, permanent change that comes from knowledge and discovery and revelation about certain principles about life and really just the world around you. All of us are made up of millions of tiny little thoughts and actions, and each of them influences and interacts with each other, and that is how we maintain our identity and our routines. If you've ever experienced a moment where things just click and you finally understand something important, it's like unlocking a code that totally changes your perspective on life and possibility, and it naturally changes your behavior. This is the essence of transformation, and certain types of people are driven to seek out these types of moments and these types of information. And that tells me two things. One, you believe that transformation and change is possible. And two, there are people who are actually willing to change. And that is no small thing, because there are a lot of people who say that they want change. They want more money or better health or more fulfilling relationships, when really they just want everything handed to them. And that ain't reality. You want more out of life, and you know that you can't get it by staying the same. This is the realization that we all have to get to before anything happens. As the main character, at least in my experience, you will get to a critical moment in life where you need to give up something in order to gain something else. You will either learn something that will change your life, or you will have to confront a truth or experience a hardship that will force you to evolve. The truth that I ran into was that no job will provide me the life I want to live. And I also had the hardship of losing my dad, which I talked about in my last video. That was the catalyst that started the process for me. I don't like to talk about transformation like it's some sort of mystical, magical, weird thing, because it really is just a commitment to growth. None of us can be a static character that does not change if we plan to accomplish more things in our lives. Some of the things I want for my own life, I could not handle them right now. So I have to level myself up so that I can become the kind of person who actually has them. I have to commit to changing my thoughts and my actions, and it is something that I have to practice every single day. The value of worthwhile things comes from the work you put in and the growth you experience as you gain them. I'm sure that you have at least some idea of the things that would make you happier. Maybe you want to be rich or ripped or famous or fill in the blank, because again, this is your story, not mine. And the classic mistake that everybody makes is thinking that if you had those things, that you would instantly be happier. Imagine how lame a story would be if it went like this. Once upon a time, there was some dude. His whole life, all he wanted was six-pack abs, a bunch of money, and a pretty girl to like him. And one day, he got it all, and he lived happily ever after. One of the things that I have the hardest time trying to convince people is you are not looking for things. You are looking for transformation because you are looking for depth and meaning and purpose. Transformation does not follow things. Things follow transformation. All of the things that you want in your entire life are not as dependent on your ability to get them as much as they are counting on your ability to become the type of person who has them. If you want to be wealthy, look at what wealthy people do. Wealthy people solve problems and they create and sell solutions. If you want to be healthier or ripped people lift heavy weights. They eat right and they take care of their bodies. Living your life with an, if only I had this, then I would be happy. Living with that kind of a mentality is a huge mistake because you're taking all the power out of your hands and you're putting it in somebody else's hand. And like I said before, we cannot control where our story starts, but we can 100% control where it ends. Is the world 100% fair? Of course not, but we can control our thoughts and actions. We all have to live within the framework that we exist, and we all experience varying degrees of adversity, but transformation is for all, and that doesn't matter if you're a bricklayer or a Kardashian. The main things that will keep you from transformation is ignorance and distraction. Your life should be a process, a metamorphosis, not just the acquisition of stuff. Chasing things and keeping up with the Joneses is the same trap that it has always been for as long as there have been people on planet Earth. Most of the time we want things that other people have simply because they have them, not even because they're better or more valuable necessarily. We constantly compare, and comparison is a distraction. So in life, you have to have a vision for not just what you want, but for who you want to be, and there is definitely a difference. So for me, I started out by completely separating myself from things. I started to think about who I was as a person, focusing on who I am rather than what I have or how I compare to other people, and that was a big time game changer for me. Many people have no idea how to get rid of distractions, and this is exactly why they don't change. I became really aware of what I was doing and why I was doing it, and it really made me value my time, and it empowered me to make better decisions. And this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. To start making any kind of significant changes, we really need to be able to take a step back from the things that we mindlessly engage in and consume because they're just distractions. Become deliberate about your life. Don't just get sucked into the hyper sensationalized world that we live in. Overstimulation is abundant, from the things we eat to the games we play to the things we flood our minds with, and we are filled with the desires of the masses. But you don't have to be part of the masses if you don't want to. Living your life on autopilot, you will constantly be pulled into overstimulation because it tastes good, it feels good, and it is always available. It is just a phone call or a click or a swipe away. And our dopamine craving brains do not stand a chance against that. So the only solution is to separate yourself from it. You have to be able to zoom out and think for yourself. Think about the things you do rather than just reacting and consuming them. You have learned and internalized other people's limiting beliefs, and this is the main problem I see when it comes to personal development and positive change in general. Transformation is an individual process. You have to choose to do it on your own. And sure, you can get ideas from other people about success and life and the things you want, but ultimately you have to choose to separate yourself and figure out how high in life you want to go. You will have to continuously make the decision that you will not chase instant gratification, that you will take the time to organize your thoughts, develop your own goals, and then commit to building them. It will take time, and it will take effort, and it will require transformation. Focus is mandatory because you have to be able to see things for what they are. Be driven by your mind, not just your senses. If you have made the decision to transform yourself, not just fall into the feel-good, toxic motivation that is abundant on the internet, and yes, it is toxic because it does not affect change. It keeps you doing nothing. Chain message, inspirational quotes, memes about wishful thinking, vague goals, and inaction have killed more dreams than failure ever has. And this has to be the turning point. Because in this story, where you are the main character, you have to choose transformation. Because
Transformation is the key to fulfillment.
Avoid distractions, set goals, and then fight like hell to get closer to them. You will make mistakes, but we all do. You will not be perfect straight out of the gate. You will not make all the right decisions. People will call you foolish and think that your ideas are bad, and this is the best thing that can happen because that is part of transformation. You're not going to be like everybody else. It is not instantaneous, but it is the most worthwhile thing you can do, and the rewards will be 10,000 times better. Not just because you got them, but because of the person that you become in the process of getting them. And that will be more fulfilling than anything else. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you're a firm believer in self-awareness and financial independence, be sure to check out HonestlyClothing.com. The link will be in the description. Comment if you got something valuable out of this video. If you didn't like it, feel free to thumbs down and come back so I can try again in the next one. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.